we're going to be talking about more movies people are going to want to see because we're going to do our early 2021 Oscar predictions that are probably going to be right 100%.
We did pretty good last year, or where we did our 10 month in advance predictions, was it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we did pretty good.
The Academy Awards, I think, will be happening almost literally a year from now. Maybe.
Yeah, they moved it back again to mid-February, right?
Yeah, so pretty close to when we're doing this. So really giving you a year to start placing your bets. And Dave, why don't we start with the movie that's your background? The trailer just dropped for it. Wes Anderson's newest film, The French Dispatch. Starring so many people that Saoirse Ronan is billed 11th or 12th on this. Pretty
sounds like a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous. The cast, you got Bill Murray. It seems like it's gonna be anchoring this. Timothée Chalamet, gonna be playing another major role.
Jeffrey Wright,
Elizabeth Moss.
All the usual suspects from West, as long as some new people like Elizabeth Moss. So just look it up or watch the trailer. It's stacked as you expect. Yeah, I think that's actually a natural place to start is with someone like Wes Anderson, just because when we did it last year, there were some obvious places to, put your chips in on, right? Because there's certain filmmakers that when they release a movie, it's eventized by that filmmaker's fans, film community in general. So there's eyes on that movie just kind of regardless. I think last year with Tarantino for Once Time in Hollywood and The Irishman with Scorsese, we just kind of knew those movies were going to be in the conversation, assuming they weren't total disasters. And that's exactly what happened. So this year, I think what The French Dispatch is certainly that movie. It's interesting to think, though, Wes does not have a amazing track record at the Oscars. His movies get some attention more of late. Grand Budapest Hotel did pretty well with nominations, Best Picture nom in particular. Isle of Dogs, though, which was released early in the year in March, I believe it was, less so. This one's French Dispatch is coming out in July, a little early for the traditional Oscar slate, but because it's Wes, I think it's okay. Again, like Tarantino, so I would not be surprised if this, is one of your 8 or 9 Best Picture films, just given the pedigree and the assumption of quality.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a lot of really strong directors this year, so we're going to be naming a lot that probably will not be making it. But I would guess this one probably has a pretty good shot. I think you mentioned that it's going to be based off of the story of the New Yorker and kind of pulling that together. And if this is the journalism film for the year,
sure.
However tongue in cheek it is, I could definitely see this getting a nomination. What else do you got on your short list? I have a couple, but I want to give you a little space.
So along those lines, the filmmakers that just are going to be checked in on regardless. Naturally, Christopher Nolan is releasing Tennant literally the same month as Wes. That's going to be fun.
Awesome month.
Last time Nolan dropped a movie, also in July, it was Dunkirk, a Best Picture nominee, won some awards. So, Nolan, I think, apart from Batman, he's had a really good run. Interstellar did pretty decently as well. So, assuming Tenet is good as we hope and expect it to be, Tenet will certainly be in the mix. Maybe not Best Picture, who's to say? But yeah, Nolan is another one who people just will be watching his movies, talking about his movies. Academy voters will have seen this film, so it's something that will be in the conversation early, like The French Dispatch. So, just something to consider just because of the Nolan of it all.
Yeah, and I think we also can just kind of throw out there Dune, which is a movie we mentioned, but another stacked cast, Denis Villeneuve, teaming up with Timothée Chalamet, and it's going to be talked about. It's dropping, I think, on Christmas.
Yes,
next
so
year.
It's right. It's in that 1917 slot this time, but it's even bigger because they're going to release that wide from the jump. So yeah, Dune is another maybe it goes Blade Runner 2049 like his last go around, where it actually gets kind of underlooked. But I expect this to be a much bigger success than that. And yeah, it's Denis, who's had a good run recently with stuff like Arrival at the Oscars. So yeah, I think those are kind of the three big ones where you combine the movie and the filmmaker, and it just makes a lot of sense that it'll at least be in the mix. Something that I think is a little less certain is No Time to Die. That's Cary Fukunaga, so really liked and respected. Ultimately, though, it's a franchise film. It's a James Bond movie. Skyfall was really great. I don't even know if it got anything beyond original song. So
Mhm.
yeah, I wouldn't bet money on that, but people checking out for it, I think interest in general is pretty high for that one.
Yeah, how did you feel about the Billy song?
I love that. I loved it, honestly.
Check it out. It's on the playlist. Best of Nostalgia 2019 or 2020. Jeez.
Yeah.
Um, I'm interested. I want to throw out a couple of Netflix movies here
Yep.
that
I
I'm
got some
wondering
big
if they're.
ones.
So
No
we got.
Irishman this year, but still some big ones.
I'm gonna kind of just throw them out there. Mank, which is a
Yeah.
David Fincher film. It's going to be looking at one of the writers of Citizen Kane,
Yeah.
and kind of detailing how that movie was made and
Yeah.
Orson Welles' process through that.
Yeah. And like the fight over like screenwriting credit. Very, very interesting, famous Hollywood story.
Yeah. So that just feels like it's right up, it's a movie about movies. It's David Fincher, whose status
Yeah.
has only been growing and growing.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It feels like it's made for an Oscar nom. You have The Five Bloods, you finally have Spike Lee getting the monkey off his back Oscar-wise and dropping this Vietnam War movie, which apparently has undertones to political themes of today. And a couple of well-known people in that. You have Chadwick Boseman, Paul Walter Hauser, Giancarlo Esposito, a couple of big names attached.
Jonathan Majors.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
So the cast is there, but then the one that is getting a lot of buzz, and there's only one time has there ever been a remake that wins Best Picture, but West Side Story,
Yep.
directed by Steven Spielberg, feels like it's positioned to just be an Oscar darling and
Another Christmas release,
and potentially being that movie that finally brings Netflix home its Oscar win for Best Picture. I think that's going to rest a lot on Ansel's performance, to be completely honest. I think we've been a little bit skeptical about if he's the right person to lead that. I think if he kills it and he's just fantastic, we'll be talking about it in the race. I think if not,
right,
I could easily see this falling to the side.
Yeah, that's actually not a Netflix movie. Just to be clear, that's a Fox Legacy film, one of their last movies.
Oh, I thought that was dropping on Netflix, not
no, that's Fox, and Amblin produced Spielberg's
Gotcha.
side. Yeah, that's another interesting one, just because it's in that Hammer slot right around Christmas. It's hard to envision a scenario where that movie doesn't make a shit ton of money, just given what it is, when it's coming out, stuff like that. Kind of interesting, similar thought. In the Heights, the film adaptation of Lin-Manuel's first hit musical, that comes out in, I believe, June, starring Anthony Ramos, who got famous, of course, from Hamilton. Lin is, I think, just universally beloved right now in Hollywood. And he didn't direct this or anything, but he obviously is the genesis for it. So I think In the Heights, maybe if that's good, and this is a pure movie adaptation of the play, not the filmed versions of theater work, the way the Hamilton stuff that's coming next year is. So musicals have had some good success recently, and Lin is so famous and well liked that wouldn't shock me either. But again, coming out a little early, so you never know.
A couple other ones. I want to see where you're at with it. Aaron Sorkin is making the Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yes, sir.
Pretty famous story. Everybody loves Aaron Sorkin's writing. This feels
maybe not
like
everyone, but it gets.
I feel like most people do.
Yeah, it gets strong reaction either way, right? Everyone has an opinion on Sorkin writing.
Sure.
I love it.
This feels like it could also be an Oscar-y type movie, but the thing is, his last movie, Molly's Game, seemed like it could be too, and kind of fell to the side. Did get a Producers Guild a nomination, or
something down the line. Yeah.
But that one's lined up. Also, News of the World. It's Tom Hanks as a Civil War veteran, kind of traveling across the South. Teaming up with Paul Greengrass feels like it could be up there. I mean, last time that they were together was Captain Phillips. So
that's right.
potentially in the mix.
And that's
What
also
else
coming out
is
in December. So
Yep.
coming out at that right time.
What else feels like it's close or in that mix for you though?
Yeah, I think we've kind of hit a lot of the obvious ones, right? Like Mank, New
There are
World.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I got some other ones I'm thinking about. Trial of Chicago 7, I think you're right. It's a really solid bet just because it's Sorkin's second time in the director chair. He's already gotten love for his screenplays, so that's a good one. Then I think you can start looking at movies that are unlikely to be best picture contenders, but can certainly get attention for other stuff, such as like King Richard. That's the Will Smith movie where he's playing Richard Williams, the notorious father of Venus and Serena Williams. Big Willie. He's, I think, done kind of had interesting run of films lately in terms of successful ones and not successful ones, but it's riding high right now after Bad Boys 3. So maybe interesting to see if Will truly does bring it, him getting really back to being the great actor that he is. And that's coming out in November, I think right around Thanksgiving. So you could see that kind of picking up steam and Will being in that best actor race. For
definitely. Sure. A dark horse, something I just want to throw out there. Because he's also beloved by the Academy, obviously. Taika Waititi has a movie coming out this year called Next Goal Wins.
Oh, he does? I didn't have that one.
It's supposed to drop this year, but there's not much confirmed around it, so this could be something that's pushed back a little bit further. However, just looking at the cast, it's Fassbender leading it. You have Elizabeth Moss in it as well. It's focusing. Oh, Armie Hammer's also in it, so there's some star power behind it. They're looking at it's a comedy, which I think is going to make it hard to get into the race. But it's looking at American Samoa and how soccer kind of came about with that, and like the role that it played. I think it's for a specific team or something along those lines. But Taika is so beloved right now. I feel like anything he puts out, especially if it's like touching on culture and it has that sweet meaning behind it, he's got to have his name thrown out there. So
sure,
Taika's one, and then there's two projects that we don't even know if it's going to happen this year. Probably 2021, but I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. PTA and David O. Russell both are kind of gearing up for their next movies, and if they drop this year, I think they're certainly in the mix.
Right. Yeah, I think the David O. Russell one, very unlikely. Like stuff like, I know Mank, as far as we know, isn't actually done being filmed yet, but was like halfway done around New Year. So it needs to be like being filmed to come out, because like not everyone works like Clint Eastwood. A lot of filmmakers are just going to take more time to put this shit out, and then whoever they're distributing with will be like, all right, cool, we can wait till Sundance next year. We can, just kick it off, right? So like, if you're not ready for one of these upcoming festivals this year, whether you want to be early for Cannes or you want to be late with the fall shit, like if you have prestige aspirations, you're just gonna roll it over,
right?
And then there's a lot of other films with big name people that are in that same kind of boat, where it's kind of hard to have a lot of faith in it coming out this year, which again, not a problem. Take all the time you want, please. I think something that will be coming out this year from Netflix and Plan B is Andrew Dominik's movie, Blonde. Andrew Dominik, of course, famous for Assassination of Jesse James, and also just kind of famous for not working that often. He did Mindhunter season 2 a little bit, but
hell yeah.
This is Ana de Armas playing Marilyn Monroe. Adrian Brody's in this. Bobby Cannavale is playing Joe DiMaggio, which is like, I think, the most perfect casting that's ever existed, frankly. And yeah, this is gonna be a Netflix film, and probably gonna be one of their fall bangers. So that sounds very intriguing. Plan B, Brad Pitt's company, they very rarely put their nose in the ring with stuff that's not that great. So even though this is a biopic, a Marilyn Monroe biopic at that, it's a pretty tantalizing prospect, if you ask me.
Dave, do you think a Ron Howard movie could potentially be nominated? Does he got the clout?
Maybe. It's happened before, right? Some of his old stuff.
Hillbilly Elegy feels like it could be perfect Oscar bait. You got Amy Adams, Glenn Close. I think there's one other. really notable person. Oh, Haley Bennett, Gabriel Basso. So basically, it's about this family in Kentucky, and they move to Middletown, Ohio, or how it's like related to their social problems
Mm-hmm.
there. It just seems like it's going to be that like family drama. You're going to have Glenn Close and Amy Adams giving their potential Oscar worthy performances, and I don't know, just feels like it's definitely got a shot to be in there. But the more we're looking through it, this year was interesting, or this past year was interesting. 2019, we had such big movies: Star Wars, Avengers. The year felt like there was an event movie coming up, a Tarantino movie,
Mm-hmm.
uh, just so much. And then this year we kind of had like how are we going to fill this in? And certainly there have been some bad movies. If you go on my letterbox, I think there's nothing above like a 2.5 right now, or maybe a 3. I think I gave The Gentleman. So it's been a tough start, and that's not even talking about movies like Fantasy Island, which seems like it might
Yeah.
possibly be one of the worst movies of the last 10
Yep.
years.
The Turning, another one that got like a F cinema score.
Just it's been tough so far, but there's so many quality directors putting out interesting stories. I feel like by the end of the year we're going to be talking about how 2 or 3 of these films deserve to be nominated and got snubbed. So
Sure.
very exciting. Any other movies you want to throw out there, just to kind of get them out there?
Yeah. I got a few others. Edgar Wright has a movie coming out, The Last Night in Soho. We don't know much about this at all. It's coming out, I think, end of September. This is horror or horror adjacent anyway. So in that line, probably tough to break through at the Academy itself. But Edgar is just coming off his most successful awards run ever with Baby Driver, of course, which actually did win a few awards. So it's Edgar Wright. People are going to be checking for it regardless. So you got to keep an eye out for that. Another movie that we don't know if it's actually coming out this year, as we've said before, would be Macbeth. This is Joel Coen's A24 film.
Denzel
And Frances McDormand playing Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. So
cool.
That's obviously appointment viewing whenever that does finally come out. Another movie that I think is definitely not coming out this year, it's called Come On, Come On with Joaquin Phoenix. It's A24 as well. That's Mike Mills. He did 20th Century Women most recently. I don't think that's started filming yet, though, so that's probably a no. And then some other stuff that has started to premiere at Sundance that we know is well liked. It's going to roll out to us normal people later in the year. There's Zola from A24. There's Minari from A24. That's with Stephen Yeun, who was incredible in Burning and apparently is really good once again here. We have After Yang, which is Kogonada's new film. I loved Columbus in 2017. This one has he's re-teaming up with Haley Richardson again, and also we have Colin Farrell in this, and Joni Turner-Smith, who was really good in Queen and Slim. So that movie sounds really exciting to me. It's sci-fi and A24, so it's unlikely to break through, but it could be like this year's High Life in terms of everyone who saw it really likes it, but it's probably too out there to be an Oscar movie.
So
go ahead.
There one that I forgot to mention that I think has another it has the credentials is The Father. It's Anthony Hopkins. You have Olivia Colman. It's going to basically be those two, as Anthony Hopkins plays an aging person and is moving in LaPierre. I think that one's got the goods. What else do you got? Anything else?
Yeah, so actually coming out really soon, March 6th, we have First Cow from Kelly Reichardt. That's also A24. Everyone's been really talking this up as a really great movie that started doing festivals last year. So just excited to see that. I'm also looking forward to The Truth from Koreeda. This is his first movie that's not in Japanese, but of course he released Shoplifters back in 2018, which is absolutely incredible and was nominated for Best International Film. This one's now it's in French, so it's still not an English movie, but that's certainly going to be probably a contender for Best International Film. People also really like The Climb, which is going to be coming out soon. Corey Finley, he released his debut film back in 2017, Thoroughbreds, a movie I really enjoyed. He has this new movie coming out called Bad Education with HBO, and this has Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney in it. So I'm at least very excited just to see what his next film is. Armando Iannucci has a new movie coming out. in May too. Personal history of David Copperfield with Dev Patel. Last time he did a movie was Death of Stalin 2 years ago, which I really enjoyed. So looking forward to that. And then
How about this?
you can think of stuff that's just maybe like down ballot awards. Like there's this movie called Bios coming out in the fall. It's a sci-fi movie with Tom Hanks and directed by Miguel Sapochnik. Um,
Hmm.
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Coming to America, the sequel is coming out at the end of the year with Eddie.
Two coming
Yep,
to America.
exactly. In terms of technical awards and effects and stuff, you got to figure Top Gun Maverick is going to be fucking insane. So we'll see what that looks like. I guess Marvel might have another chance at finally winning Best Visual Effects with the Eternals, considering that's going to be a cosmic in space movie, a lot of effects at least. So we'll see.
Dave, I want to put you on the spot real quick. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to ask you to name all of them. Give me 4 or 5 that you think are definitely going to be there for the 2021 Oscars.
In general, or Best Picture?
Best Picture.
French Dispatch, definitely, well, as definitely as I can say. News of the World, West Side Story. Those feel safe. Tenet, it's really hard to say until we see Tenet. If Tenet's really good, probably. Tough to say. I think King Richard. I think Will Smith has a really has his inside track right now in terms of best actor, but really hard to say. And then if Mank comes out, I think Mank will be there because it's fucking Fincher and he hasn't done a movie in a while. Yeah. Other than that, it's hard. It's hard to pick stuff.
I would agree. I think Mank and West Side Story and French Dispatch seem really safe. I would also put Dune in there. I get the sense Denis gonna fucking nail this. And then I think The Trial of the Chicago 7 just seems up there. But I agree. I think what you said about the News of the World also feels like it's got a really good shot. Just the perfect premise to it for an Oscar movie for sure. I think that'll be like the Green Book one where it doesn't say as much as people think it does, but
right.
people feel good about themselves for liking it. So
sure,
be interesting. Any last thoughts on the 2021 Oscars? Year out. So definitely remember everything we say here is going to be correct.
Yep, you're out.
Hold Dave to it.
It looks like it's going to be a big year for Ana de Armas. She also has this movie coming out called Deep Water with Ben Affleck. So that makes 3 high-profile movies for her between that, Blonde, and of course No Time to Die. So she's really positioned perfectly to truly break out following the, I guess, mainstream breakout in Knives Out. So I'm really excited for her and for that, just to see what we get from her. Apple's going to release their first attempt at a prestige film with The Banker that's coming out in March. So decent cast. See if that makes any noise. It's been kind of controversial recently. And actually, funny enough, Chloe Zhao, who's directing Eternals for Marvel in November, also has another movie that she made before Eternals coming out this year called Nomadland with Frances McDormand. So that's interesting because people really liked The Rider, her first movie. So yeah, there's a lot of intriguing stuff. Even if like you said, this is the year where there might be some box office worry, given that there's not a slew of Money in the Bank Disney
Big
remakes
IP movies, right?
So in the meantime, I think people that are more film heads, or at least people that have a Regal Unlimited or AMC A list, are going to go a lot. There's plenty of stuff to see. Hey, heck, A24 is releasing a summer movie called The Green Knight from David Lowery with Dev Patel and Alicia Vikander. That sounds fantastic. There's stuff for everyone this year, like every year. So can't wait.
Yeah, very excited for it, and I'm also excited to get through the dredges of the early year movie.
March is going to pick up. We'll be fine.
If I had to watch another Sonic or I'll Tell the Boys I Love Before, it's going to be rough.